All right, we are live. First Monday of the week. Finance Junkies, thank you everybody for being here. We've got a lot to talk about today. Apple had a pretty revolutionary event with their WWDC, and we have a special guest to help us discuss all of that. Fan favorite, Rango. Thank you for being here.
Hey.
Rango is back.
Hi.
So we got 121 people here. Thank you all for being here.
Yo.
To begin the stream, we've got Carlos here, and Vitaly and Chris are coming in a little bit. But we'll just start talking, and then we'll keep it going from there.
Just start with what you were saying right before we went live.
Okay, this is what I said. And this is my one thing. I said Meta's fucked, and Carlos was like, well, Meta Quest 3's. I said, wait a second, do you have to hold something to operate the Quest 3? You have some stupid controllers? They said yes. I said Meta's fucked because Apple, there's no controllers. You just got to finger around a little bit.
You're like this, dude. Right? Porn. I mean, just imagine that with porn. Like Vitaly's gonna love it.
Rango, what were your raw thoughts when you saw the conference?
First thoughts was I hope they make Siri better if they're like relying on voice. Like I really hope they make Siri better. Like because I have.
Wait, can you say that again? You hope that they make what?
Siri.
Oh, Siri. Yeah, Siri is
because they're relying on voice a lot. Like generally speaking, to like navigate inside the app. So I hope they make that better. That was my first thought when it was there.
I have a tweet to show you guys. That's related to that. I've been pulling some links of some funny stuff. I made like a little folder on Twitter of some things that I've been seeing. But there was
you guys notice anything different with my shirt?
You're actually looking a little buff. You've been doing some push-ups, bro. Come on, be honest. You've been pushing.
No, this shirt. I'm wearing the shirt inside out because I forgot how to wear shirts apparently today. So, thank you everybody for being here. We got a lot to get into. Chris, hello, sir.
Here, Amit, I'm sending you. Here, pull up this tweet.
Okay, I'll pull it up. So Rango was just saying he hopes Apple makes Siri more advanced, and this is a tweet Carlos said. There will be, this is a new Apple job listing is seeking those interested in conversational and generative AI. Interesting.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
So this was in a thread that I was reading about trying to incorporate a chat GPT type text or voice interface using the headset. So you can like basically create like a virtual assistant that'll appear in 3D and you can talk to that person in natural language.
Yeah.
I guess would be Siri. I just hope she's hot.
What were some other things you felt, Rango, as your
I mean, like it was not really a surprise. We kind of knew almost all of it, but like I mean, the price was like I thought they'll do the iPad thing a little bit, like they priced it a little under, but they went for it $3,500 on the higher side. But it's always Apple is always like they always make it seem like it's like out of reach, and then
it's out of reach.
But you know what? They kind of buy it, buy into it.
Somebody reminded me of the fact that the original iPad, when it was announced at $999, and people went in an uproar and they said, "I'm not paying for that. It's basically a giant iPhone." And then 6 months later, Steve Jobs was like, "I'm just kidding. It's $500." And even if they announced it at $500, people would have complained. But because it was announced at $1,000 and then seemingly was at half the discount, nobody complained. So it's quite possible that this could get it to $29.99. Because the other thing is, he said it starts at $35.
And they named it Pro. So
that's true.
That's true. So then they could be like the Vision SE, Vision SE version. Can we just say, like, of all the things, the name of that device was the worst? It's the
what? I thought the name was legit. I thought it was such a good name.
Sorry.
Vision Pro. That shit. What did you want them to call it?
I don't know. I thought they would have come up with something more clever.
Like Quest sounds like a nutrition bar, bro.
I think but I think the Quest gives it a personality. The Quest is a name that gives the device a personality. It's called like they could have just called it the Goggles Pro.
You saw how hard they tried to stay away from VR and metaverse.
Yes,
it was not
AI. They didn't even know.
Not even
nothing AI. I don't know. I thought it would have been funny if they would have done like the little lowercase I and called it the II. Like that'd have been kind of funny.
That would have been the
iVerse.
The iVerse.
No. Okay, so we've got a lot to talk about. So I want to segment the discussion because obviously there's a ton going on. I think we'll start first with this. We'll go around the panel.
iVision. That's good.
Let's start it off with
That would
What'd you
have
say,
been
What'd you say, Vitaly?
the iQuest. That would have been amazing.
Oh, that would have been
I
funny.
agree.
That would have been funny.
Sucks.
That
They're
would
like,
have
sorry,
been
we own that, and we
funny.
also did the hand tracking thing.
Okay, because we got a lot of people on the panel, I'm going to do this.
Apple
How about
AI?
everyone gets 2 minutes on just raw thoughts, and then we'll get into pricing, then we'll get into implications, we'll get into Unity, all that stuff. So
Before you
Vitaly,
do, before you do, can you just bring up Starbuccaneers nailed the name of it. He nailed it.
glasses.
That's the name. That was
Eyeglasses.
the name.
I thought Google had something called Glass, right? Glasses.
Google Glass. Yeah, I guess they
Google
did.
Glass. Yeah.
I guess they did.
Okay, so I'm going to give everyone 2 minutes, and then we'll get into more organic discussion just to get your raw thoughts. So Vitaly, your 2 minutes is up, and then I'm going to stop you at 2 minutes. So we got a lot to talk about. 2 minutes or your raw thoughts. Go ahead.
Unlike Chris, I know how to keep it to 2 minutes. Oh,
I knew he was going to. I was almost going to.
I wasted 30 seconds on that.
He's
like, I
you're
really
8
pushed the
seconds
rest
in.
of my
Go
time.
ahead.
That was worth it. Honestly, look, the device, obviously stellar technology. I have nothing against that. In fact, Apple is a great company. They're going to do well no matter what. This has nothing to do with them doing well. But I think they missed expanding this whole ecosystem completely because they're going after, once again, they're going after the tippy top of the market. And I think I pointed out in our WhatsApp thread that I think they're going after Microsoft. And can I just bring up here, let me share this to share exactly the prices that Microsoft sells their HoloLens at. HoloLens pricing. There you go. I'm going to share it. You guys see it?
FaceTime. They call it. I'm definitely not watching porn.
You guys see this?
Yeah.
So HoloLens starts at 3,500,
Hmm.
and also this Vision Pro Quest starts at $3,500. Starts, which means that it looks like they're doing this industrial. I think that's what's going to happen. They're going after Microsoft. They want to kill this player before they eventually go to Meta because they want the top end of the market. Then they're going to get the bottom end. So I still think that's the plan. It's just that I feel like they missed the point of expanding the whole. You can stop the share. They missed the whole point of expanding the metaverse, VR, whatever, virtual reality, all of this stuff, and make it for the masses, which I think a lot of people do want. We want this competitor to compete. And now I don't know who they're getting to actually develop. This is going to be interesting to watch, but I think the developers are clearly going to stay with Meta because it's the consumer level device, which I didn't want. I actually want this ecosystem to get bigger because how do I win in Meta? I don't win if Meta's alone. I need other players. I need Google. I need Apple. I need all of them to expand the market for everybody, just like Apple did with the iPhone. Same thing. As soon as they can do that, then I think we all win more. I don't think Meta can succeed until Apple actually succeeds in this.
Okay, perfect. Right on time. Carlos, your 2 minutes. Go ahead.
I mean, no surprise. I agree with some of what Vitaly said, but I disagree with a good bit of it. I think
No, don't give me the disagreements yet because we're gonna have a full debate later. Just give me your raw thoughts from the prompt.
raw thoughts on it. I think once people get past the sticker shock, they'll realize exactly what happened today. I think Apple introduced the metaverse that Mark Zuckerberg has been trying to do for several years. I think they look, Mark's been trying to get people to live in like a horizon worlds where you buy property and for billions of Bitcoin and live in this. Apple has created VR in a space that is in the world that we already live in. I think the 2-hour battery life is actually on purpose to limit people from being in this. They want people to live in the real world, and it's a sign that they don't have to monetize people's attention. They can get their money is not coming from monetizing you and keeping you in it. I think the technology is absolutely insane. It's light years beyond what Meta is doing, and I think it solidifies what Meta's device is. The Quest is a gaming device. That is what it is. It is nothing more than a gaming device. The fact that it has controllers, I mean, that, like we said it before we went live, that's it right there. It is not meant. You're not going to see Quests on a plane. You're going to see tons of these Apple devices on the plane. And I think they are going for the high-end market. Who they're going for now is the people that are already in the Apple ecosystem. This is what they did with the iPhones. This is what they did with whatever. And just like people said, they'd never pay $1,000 for an iPhone. They didn't want wireless headphones. They didn't want an iPad because it was a giant iPhone. I think we're going to just see every one of these people get in line. And 2 years from now, all these people that are naysayers are just going to pretend like they never said what they're saying. This was an absolute monumental move by Apple. And I think we've seen the next S curve begin.
Okay, Rango, your 2 minutes. Go ahead.
As a product, I mean, it's still not prime time. It's 2-hour battery. It's still not prime time. But as an engineering feat, like the stuff they have done, like, it's pretty incredible. The one important thing they've solved, which Meta hasn't able to solve, and it's harder than it looks actually. Like the reason people don't use VR glasses is because like people get like, it's hard to wear it for a long time, Apple actually like has, if you notice their chips, it's like there's an R1 chip and there's like an M2 chip. So like this was like actually like a huge focus in terms of what they've solved. Like it refreshes faster than like 12 milliseconds. You can take all it reconstructs your surroundings in 12 milliseconds. All right, so like such low latency, you can play like ping pong, you can lead an everyday life without latency. That's the reason people feel like pukey and all that stuff when they are using the MetaQuest or any VR glasses, is because of the higher latency from the real world. And Apple has managed to solve that, and I don't see anybody discussing that. I think that's very monumental, and that's very important to actually like go to mass market. And obviously you need to reduce the price overall, and that will happen. And I want to go in depth to it. This is like, according to me, like the overall thoughts, like, and what is the most important thing you've solved.
Okay, and we'll explore a lot of those later. Tam Tran, thank you for the $10 super chat again. Me and my brother Tony TT, the best for on YouTube, authentic. Thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat. The world, man. Chris, your 2 minutes. Go ahead.
You're muted, Chris.
You're muted. You're wasting your 2 minutes, Chris.
I think this was just a trial run for them to see where they need to iterate. They're going to create the best product, put a really high price on it, so the least amount of people have it, but the people that do have it are going to be evangelists for this product, and then you'll be able to learn a lot. This is not a mass market product. Typically, when you introduce a product into the world, you're not trying to go for the jugular as some people would want. You want to build upon it. So if you think about the Apple Watch, the first time it came out, a lot of people said, wait, what? This is ridiculous. Like, I'm not going to pay like $300, $400 for like a small thing that doesn't. But as time went on, the functionality started to build on itself. People became more acceptable of the pricing that Apple was charging. So I think it's a very similar thing. The original production goals, I think, were like scaled back significantly to only 100,000 units, which will probably be sold out in a very short period of time. And I think people like Marquez Brownlee and everything else will be able to review these things, get people interested in it, and probably pretty much elevate the quality of VR experience for just everybody. And I think in 5 years from now, we'll be a lot more accepting of a product like this. And hopefully by then the pricing it's going to be somewhat more affordable. So the best way I could describe this is like Tesla. When Tesla, the first Roadster came out, it was only for the rich, but it let Tesla build upon the ecosystem and say, okay, now we can push down market every time they iterated on a new product. So.
Can you highlight Douglas's comment just now? He's so right. This was one of my points. This is going to go to the athletes and celebs, just like Beats. Apple is going to leverage their unbelievably deep relationships with celebrities, with musicians, with venues. Like, can you imagine when they offer exclusive VR experience, like a front row seat at the Olympics for like a small price, like a passport using just the Apple device, or they give you front row seats at a concert to like a mega celebrity. They're just going to do things with it that Meta is not going to be able to do because they don't have those relationships and they don't have their foothold in things like music and concerts.
Let's transition. This shows your lack of understanding.
Okay, hold on. Let me set it up. Then we'll start it.
No, they've actually been doing what he's saying.
Hold on. What are the implications for Meta based on this new announcement? We'll start with V. We'll get the bear side, and then the bull side for Meta, and then we'll get to go ahead.
Perma
on the perma bear.
Well, you're bearish on Apple doing this. So.
I'm not actually bearish on Apple.
You have to be bearish on Apple if you're long Meta doing this.
Yes.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That is not true. I use Apple products. I'm on an Apple laptop right now. Okay, I have Apple computers. I build
right, and those by the way, Meta Quests behind you haven't moved in 6 months.
That's true. I
don't know why you keep saying. Do you watch me at my home? I don't even know. I'm playing tennis.
It's right behind your head right now.
No, I understand. We have to charge there. That's the charging dial.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, why won't this kill Meta, Vitaly?
Why won't this kill Meta?
Hold on. When I mean kill,
has the iPhone killed Android? I don't understand. What kind of question is this?
I mean, okay, so here's the question. Meta has had this shit for like 10 years. They acquired Oculus, all this stuff. The example.
Okay, 10 years ago. Hold on.
Hold on. Let me set it up. Let me be the host. I'm not going to speak too much. I'm going to give it to you. When I saw Apple showing them at NBA, like the NBA thing or a movie in your home, all of this stuff Meta has been trying to market for years. That, what if you were at the game instead of watching the game? What if you were in the movie, whether watching the movie? And Apple made it seem magical today.
My time is
because
up.
Apple does that. So my question to you is, why don't they take a real segment of the market away from Meta, even though they don't kill it, but they're definitely going to take away a lot of people. That
I think they're trying to actually, and they could succeed in this content thing. I kind of agree that they have much better handle on content in terms of like, Disney is part of it, and maybe they'll have some exclusive with music, but this is exactly the same stuff going on for all VR. So there is no, okay, the whole point of this is that when a company eventually will announce an event, they're going to want all the VR devices to come on their event. They don't just want Meta Quest. They don't just want HTC Vibes. The whole point is that the whole market grows where everybody can participate. This is supposed to be a new thing. So the metaverse is supposed to be where you can take your digital goods and move them to a different place. That's what I think is going to end up happening. It's not all meant to be in one ecosystem. You're supposed to be able to move through ecosystems. So they will not kill Meta Quest. In fact, they've just made Meta sell gangbusters in Christmas. You watch the numbers in Christmas, it's going to be crazy. Okay. $500 for, I want to buy this device. $500, easy buy. $3,500, I have to think about this. Do I buy this? Do I pay for the kids' college? Which one do I pick?
Okay, continue.
Well, why are you? What? Like 2 minutes up?
Are we doing 2 minutes at a time? Okay, because I have a counterpoint to that I'd like to hear. What
go ahead, make your final point, or Carlos can start.
No, go ahead.
He's good. All right, Carlos, go ahead.
Here's my counterpoint to that. Anyone that wants a Quest already has a Quest, right? They've got 100 and something million units out there already right now, right? So it's not like Apple's looking to come for those people. Like, if you want a Quest, that's what you're going to get. If you want a gaming device with controllers, that's what you're going to get. Apple is not going for that right now. Apple's market is different. If anything, Quest has been siphoning people away from Xbox and PlayStation, but they're not competing with Apple. This to me showed that Apple is not competing with the Quest at all. And the reason I say that, and the reason why I don't think it's necessarily
with Microsoft. I pointed that out.
I mean, but even Microsoft, the HoloLens, I don't know how many units they're selling, but my point is this: anyone that wants a Quest is already going to get a Quest. And if they've been out this long and they've got 100 something million units out there, they're selling these things at $500, but what are the margins on this? Wall Street is not going to be happy with them selling units. They want to know what
you're missing. The point of Meta trying to win this market. It is not to make money on hardware.
But my point is that they're winning the market from Sony and Xbox and Microsoft. This is not at all a threat to Apple whatsoever.
I think you're wrong about that too, by the way. I have an Xbox, I have a PlayStation, I have a Nintendo Switch, and I have a Meta Quest.
Rango, go ahead. You can get in here.
Yeah, so like when Meta started doing this, like the VR stuff, like what was like their initial goal was like, hey, we want to be like the competing platform, and we don't want to be like reliant on Apple and Apple by their balls. And exactly. I don't see that being changed right now. That's the problem. Because Meta is now like again relying on Android for their OS. They're still using Android for their Meta. They're still like using the Play Store. They're still using Snapdragon chips. They've become more like a hardware maker, like any other Samsung or like whatever. They're not become a platform. Like that's how they started out doing.
You don't
that's what they set out.
Hold on, have you used the Meta Quest? Have you used it?
Yes, I've used Quest 2, obviously. Quest 3, I haven't. It's not out yet. So I've used Quest 2. It's a decent device. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad device. It's a decent device, but it's definitely like, okay, like let's put it this way. Have you seen the non-dongle part and the whole dongle that you have to carry around with that? Yeah, that's where I'm getting to. Like, like it's a design choice, right? Like, what is Meta like? Like you make a device, it has to have one application. It's clearly way better than like currently. Like what is that with Apple is like if you can have like a 5K monitor and number of 5K monitors all at the same time, and like high resolution, you can zoom in, zoom out, and it'll be 5K monitors, and it'll be like super high def, super high resolution. It's right there. It's just killing off monitors. Like it's clearly a better monitor than
actually. I agree with you there.
But Meta monitors it's not a clearly better device in any one aspect. You have to get better at least one aspect. You have to kill it. Like you have to be absolutely better at that. It's like, cost is a concern. That's why the cost is a concern. That's why the battery pack is lower, because they've just gone for it. Like they just spec'd up the hardware, they've spec'd up the chips, they've spec'd up everything, and saying, okay, what are people going to use it for? And then they're going to reduce the cost by taking off stuff away from them. Like that's what Apple is going to do. Meta is not like clearly going for one market, and I don't see them becoming a platform because that hasn't changed. They still have to make Instagram for your iOS devices. They still have to make Instagram for your on Android stuff. I mean, they haven't become. They
I have a question for you. What about the AI Meta's developing in house for all?
No, they are great. I mean, like I said, they're great software company, but they're not like a great technology company.
No, you're missing the point. This is my debate. As the future unfolds and all these devices. Yes. So let's say all these players are going to have their device. That's going to happen, obviously.
Right.
So as that happens, the bigger, better AI players will be victorious. Maybe it's going to be Google. I don't know. But Meta's AI that they're building out is sort of second to none at this point.
So you need like a distribution platform. That's what Meta is going for, right? Like you want to become a distribution platform. Again, AI is like a technology, right? Like AI is like another great technology. Meta is doing AI even for Instagram Reels. Like they're putting, like they're doing it all that great. Like they're great at recommendation. Like they're great at doing all that. But still on the top layer stuff, they're still not becoming a platform. And which is what they set out.
You're saying like an OS level
platform,
To piggyback off of that, the genesis, I think, of acquiring Oculus was because he wanted to own the hardware so that he wouldn't be beholden to a company like Apple changing terms of service and affecting his bottom line. And so in a way, even if he succeeds at becoming the #1 VR gaming device, it's still, they don't make, like they're still beholden to the content creators to make good content for the Quest, because Meta doesn't write games. They don't make games.
Yeah, they do. They bought a lot of game studios. This is what I mean. You actually have been tracking them.
Right, but buying game studios is not the same as them developing this stuff like in-house. This is my point. They're still not going to become the hardware platform that they wanted to be, and not be beholden, where everybody has to write software and code and work for them, where they become the game.
Look, I like talking about the future as much as anybody, but the reality is now they have the 100 million devices that are sold, or whatever it is, not 100, 20, 30 million. I forgot what it is.
Yes,
they have it. Nobody else has anywhere close. If you look at
absolutely, like they
hold on, there's a game store. What's the game store? Steam. They own 70% of the Steam for VR stuff.
But it's still not a profitable company. And with all of that, it's still not profitable. They're not making money on
Meta's
hardware.
not profitable?
No, Meta's but Meta. I'm saying
Reality Pro has lost $60 billion in the past.
I know, but it's a long shot.
They haven't been able to make this profitable because at the end of the day, Mark did not want to make a gaming company. He wanted he wanted to make a platform where he could basically be a toll and collect just pennies on transactions. He wanted you to live in the metaverse and buy property there and live there, where he could take just a little and become basically a payment processor. That is not happening because now they're basically a gaming company, and now they're going against Sony and Microsoft in the gaming world. And you know what? They probably will win, because just like Tesla does not have all of the legacy costs, right? They don't have the legacy costs of a console. They only can focus on VR. But it does that. I don't think that's what Mark's ultimate goal was. So I think it's kind of like it's a bittersweet victory for him.
The bear case, like the bear case of Meta, which was like, hey, the Apple can take away all our ad revenue, it still remains the same. It's not changed. They've pumped in so many billions of dollars, but like as an investment, the thesis of Meta might be a great investment from now on, just for the other businesses, right? But the Reality Labs hasn't changed the equation yet in terms of like Apple. You need to make a 10x better product than the competitor to become a platform, right? But that's not happened. Apple has gone for the high end, but in my opinion, Apple has managed to come out with a very
look. I understand you're saying product. Apple and Apple this, Apple that, but the fact is, HoloLens is already a great AR product. It's already great.
Yes,
and Microsoft could not make that a bigger product because it's too expensive.
The reason it's not because it's too expensive. The reason is because they don't have an ecosystem. Like
that
they don't have like
Microsoft.
They don't have like an Apple TV Plus. They don't have like an Apple Fitness Plus. They don't have like all this like live
Apple Music.
They don't have fancy marketing. Like that's a real moat, bro.
They're not a consumer. They're not like a consumer company, right?
Microsoft can't market. Meta can't. No one can market the way Apple marketed today.
It's not marketing. It's an ecosystem. It's not just marketing. It's literally like going after what the consumer wants at the right time. It's like I'll tell you like some interesting aspects of what Apple has done over the past 6 years in terms of the products they released. All right. Like they released like spatial computing. You need to pay spatial audio for that. So they released AirPods in 2016 with Bluetooth 5. They developed Bluetooth 5. See, 6 years back, they had the vision to develop Bluetooth 5 so that they can put it on AirPods, and so that long term they can use it for spatial computing. like so many years back they had like the vision to actually develop a TV service. So suddenly like all their services just connect to the VR, and they released Catalyst, like which basically makes development easy for all these platforms when there are new platforms altogether. Like they've been updating ARKit for the past 4.5 to 5 years just to like they solved occlusion, they solved so many problems around it just to come to this point. They've like basically like come across they've come to a point where like they've done hardware software services with a long-term goal of like coming to this point. They've built across technology stacks, not just building software. They've built chips, they've built like they build like networking chips, like all this. But see, Meta is like from
let me get Chris in here. Chris, your thoughts on what the implications are for Meta for this?
I mean, each one has got a different go-to-market strategy on this. Meta is just trying to get as many consumers as possible, so that this way they can attract developers. Like Apple's going to have a
yes, but that's not the question. The question is, does Apple fuck Meta over this? If you got to pick, yes or no.
No, I don't think so.
You're on Vitaly's side on this.
I think they'll compete. Just like I think they'll compete very similar to Amazon. This is very similar to Android versus Apple. You're gonna have the same thing. You're gonna have Apple try to go for the higher end market. You'll have Meta and its Android go for the mass market. And then, it depends. The question here is for us is going to be from a business standpoint, who ends up getting the lion's share of the profits, right? Like you look at Apple. Apple has made more money on phones, even though they've had less market share than the rest of the competitors combined. So my thing is, at what point does Apple's product outweigh the Meta's product and Meta's ecosystem? So I can't tell right now because I don't have the physical product in my hands. I don't know the comparison. I don't even know what the Meta product looks like, because Meta product right now was only spec released. You don't know what the actual value is, but from what I can tell, the Quest 3 is going to be a big improvement over the current generation. And for a price point that's like $500, makes a lot of sense for the mass market. So I think there are two different categories that each company is targeting. Your Meta is targeting the mass market consumer video gamer, right? Whereas Apple is targeting the day-to-day use person so if you looked at all the entire video, there was very little about video games. It was mostly about day-to-day productivity, using it in day-to-day life, watching movies, interacting with work colleagues.
Hi, son.
For FaceTime.
I don't get you or Vitaly's argument. Isn't what Rango and Carlos are saying is that's the fucking point of this product, not for some bullshit video games, but the real day-to-day.
Each person, each category is going to be different though. Like
look, but one is a really small category. Gaming
hold on. So what? Gaming is not a small category
compared to
by any means.
No, but what Amit's point is that that wasn't their goal. That might be what they eventually become successful at, is being the number one VR headset for gaming.
Exactly.
That's not what Mark,
which is a small market.
So let me add to this.
What Mark set out to do is what Mark set out to do is what Apple announced today. We are the gaming. We are the virtual platform of the future. This was not a VR device. This was a completely new compute platform with its own ecosystem, its own app store, and its own set of developers with its unique use case. That's what
the one thing I just want to comment really quickly is with regards to Microsoft. Microsoft is targeting the enterprise with actual like niche use cases, but they're making money on it. Apple is not doing that. Apple will never be able to get into the enterprise the way that Microsoft does. Like just Microsoft's Windows ecosystem is way too powerful to let Apple ever get in. Like it's just one of those things that I don't see happening.
Wait, when iPhone first came out, I knew a lot of people that wanted the iPhone for business, right? Especially like in my business, but everybody had to have a BlackBerry because that's what was what hit the certain specs for enterprise level security. Now all that stuff's gone. It took a few years to get around where iPhone could reach enterprise class security, but they eventually got there. And my point is, when Apple came out with the iPhone, there was a couple of players. There was BlackBerry, there was Motorola, and Nokia. They all went away. And what became number two in that space was not a company that existed yet. It was Google, and it became Samsung. And so I don't know that we know who the number two is competitor to Apple is yet. It's probably Google. It's probably just a company like Samsung, but it's not the Quest right now. It's not.
Funny.
No, I mean, like Quest might be successful, right? Like they might sell a lot of devices, but they just they will be like they just have not become a platform and will not be a platform in my opinion, and that's fine. But that was their goal, and Apple still has Meta by their balls in terms of ad money, and that's not
I think look, you've hit it on the head, Rangu. The big thing is the platform play. If that might not happen, I don't know, but I've used multiple VR devices. Oculus is building a platform. So you might not see it yet. You don't use it enough. And Carlos says, I don't. I just played tennis yesterday virtually and in their environment. I don't know. They changed the software. It's like on a weekly basis. I'm getting new updates. New things are happening. Now there's almost perfect hand tracking going on. They're becoming that platform. It's going to take some time. They don't have it built in like iOS. iOS didn't have it before 2006. Let's not forget the past here. Okay. So it happens over time. And I think Meta has so many devices out, so much push. First of all, how many other companies can lose this much money for the next decade?
That's not something to be proud about.
That's my point. Okay,
I'm saying Apple is one of those companies that will lose money.
But they won't.
Apple is not going to lose money.
How many years have they spent developing this, and how much did this cost?
But it cost them money.
Still,
that
Apple,
was bankrolled. That was
very small point, very small amount of
he
money.
worked at Apple, so he would know what the R&D.
Like I said, like they built all the technology on the way to the iPhone. Like all the technology they built for this device was like amortized over all the devices, all the stuff which is already built in.
So you're saying it was used for another piece of device or this or that?
Yes, they amortized it over. Yes, exactly.
What about the lenses?
Like lenses is like there is a lens supplier, right? But now Apple is also developing like their own like lens, and like Apple just takes. Like if they find like they're driving huge volumes and they're giving so much margins, they just takes it up and does it themselves. They're doing many LEDs themselves. If you just want to check it out, like
Meta is not a hardware company, bro. They're not a hardware.
It's
company.
never. Yeah, it's not a technology. It's a software.
I like when everybody says that. Yet I have
it's a
plenty of
beautiful
Meta
advertising business. It's a beautiful advertising.
That's
business.
what
They're stock for the advertising.
Like this is why I say like there are really good software companies. They're really good software companies. Like, but they're just not.
Guys, I use the MetaQuest. It is a great hardware device. This is ridiculous to say that it's not a good hardware device.
Vitaly,
Chris, have you used the MetaQuest? You've used it. You gotta back me up that this is a good hardware device.
What does Meta build in their device? Like in their MetaQuest itself, what do they do themselves? They just build their software. They do some kind of design.
I've seen a lot of
they don't.
So unfortunately, this is where one of the things is I looked up a lot of the suppliers. Like when I was trying to invest in Meta, one of the things I wanted to see was what part of the MetaQuest is in-house. And to be honest with you, it's not much. It's a lot of third-party Chinese suppliers that do all the hardware, and Meta just gives them the design details. They design all the hardware. They design all the chips that go into it, and they just provide the software. So unlike Apple, which is doing... Well, no, but
Apple makes like designs their own chips.
No, I understand.
Apple,
but the Taiwan Semiconductor is making...
But manufacturing fab is not like
That's
Apple like
it's not designed.
But you can it's not design, it's fab. Like I said, like it's a fabulous semiconductor company. It's a fabulous but they are like the protocol company. They are like they push like literally every protocol Apple is using, they push the standards everywhere. Like they have a lot of IP, dude. Like they build a lot of hardware stuff inside. They build like all kinds of like wireless stuff, networking magnets, like
Tim said on the
EMF and all that stuff.
He said that they had 5,000 patents that went
solid. They're like a solid technology company across the stack in terms of right from the physics up. Like that's not Meta is not that. Like just not that. Like it's okay to meet on that. It's just not that. That's it. They cannot optimize it like Apple does.
Here's the question. Let's look at the stock and then we'll move on to Unity. Are you at all worried, Vitaly, about the Meta stock given this announcement?
No, I think it's going to go gangbusters. In fact, I wrote it way back up to from 80 to 270 now, and I think it's going to 300 or more.
But again, that was on advertising revenue.
Right, he thinks there's going to be
that was not on anything VR related.
So even though I'm fighting the VR fight here, almost alone. Thanks.
You are VR Vitaly.
Yeah,
almost alone.
He's going to change his name soon.
Yeah, even though I'm
AR
Apple Vitaly. I thought the reason I invested in Meta is not only for that technology, which I do believe is going to win. It's because I knew they have a solid business that's worth over $1 trillion already.
Yeah.
That's why I bought them.
Okay,
And it was
can-
so
okay,
easy.
wait,
Hold on.
wait.
It was so easy to buy calls every single time, even as it was dumping down, and to buy shares, even as I was dumping, because I knew it was always return back to where it belongs, which is $1 trillion company. So yes, I am not worried, or no, I am not worried about Meta getting back to $1 trillion or over $1 trillion. I think that is absolutely going to happen. And the call option I have is that they will own a large part of the metaverse. And I think I'll be writing that too, because if they're the Android, I'm okay with that. Google did damn
So you think
fine
people
owning
will wear it on a
Android.
flat? You think people will wear the Quest on a flight? You
No
think
way.
that'll actually happen?
No way.
Okay, dude, do you want
It
to wear
doesn't
this
matter,
device
though.
with the
Simple question.
battery
It's a simple
dongle? Hold on, I'm
question.
saying,
It's
do
not
you want
happening.
any dongle anywhere? And first of all, yes, of course.
Do you want
Of course
controllers
it'll
in your
happen.
hand, dude? Do you want
Wait,
to
hold on, guys, about the dongle.
FYI, you don't need the controllers. This is how much you don't know about what they're
No.
doing. It's
No,
not
why do they show the
crazy.
controllers in every video they put out? Why do
Okay,
they show
I
that?
understand the gaming part. Some games do need controllers, but there's a lot of things like watching videos and all that. You do literally, you put up your fingers, you click pinch, and you do all this other stuff. It sees your hands and it knows all your fingers. It actually it detects every single digit that you have.
Okay,
You
might
guys
be-
should
you're
really
right.
just use the
Vitaly,
device more.
yeah, it's Vitaly. Like from what I don't know if Quest 2 had. I used the controller with the Quest 2, but Quest 3 I did read that there were gestures. There is gestures there, but like their gestures. Like,
I
they have,
agree
like,
with
I think,
this was the problem with I had VR porn. I needed them to update their software. It's impossible to use a controller.
did Fuckfucker
So-
take over ET FaceTime's account?
Well, I agree with this. I think the VR porn is actually a big thing, and I made a joke on Twitter earlier that basically Apple, it's against their service to jerk off. It's against their service terms.
Yeah,
to jerk off.
we've
So
detected.
you're not going to be able to do that
We've
on
detected
Apple devices.
right. We've detected
The amount of traffic Pornhub's gonna get from the Vision Pro is gonna be. Okay, Rango, go ahead. Continue.
I mean, so Apple has, I think, 12 cameras on the Vision Pro. Yes, like I think reality, the Meta stuff has 5 cameras. It's not about the number of cameras. The reason I'm bringing this up is because that's why the Apple's gesture controls are like much more precise. Is because they have like really like granular data. That's why the device is expensive. They like rack it up with so many sensors to get like literally every, like their gesture controls are really smooth from what I've actually used it, but their gesture controls are really smooth and really good. Like, and I don't think Quest comes even close to that from what I see. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's $3,500. It has to be better.
Yeah, exactly. Like
It's
that's
ridiculous.
the reason it's so expensive. Yeah.
I wouldn't
Chris, go ahead.
worry.
Chris.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, I said I wouldn't worry about the whole battery dongle thing. I think this is what Apple does. They'll just have a third party end up making something that attaches into your back of your head that's attached with a small wire that's going to the battery. I mean, if you want, third parties will end up paying Apple royalties to make it. Right now, Apple's main goal is make it as light as possible and then make the other parts adjustable. And then Apple gets another royalty from the different types of straps that you can use, the different battery packs that people want to put on the back of their head, whatever. Like if you want a 4-hour extended battery, how hard it is to double the size, put it on the back of the head or on the top, and there you go. Now you got a 4-hour battery. So I think that whole thing.
This is the best comment right here. This is actually correct. We're arguing about nothing. Both companies.
Well, no, I don't know. That's where I will disagree with both of you guys in saying both of them are in current market environments overvalued. Like neither one of them is growing beyond the single digits right now. Go ahead and look at their annual revenues. They are not growing beyond 1%, 2%. And if anything, Meta's actually got negative growth right now. So I would say no, right now, wait for a pullback, wait for the market to correct. Everything right now, especially big tech, has been overbought over the last 6 months. So I would be very cautious on trying to buy at the highs.
Chris, to preface it, I meant you always have to wait for a pullback. You don't buy at the highs. So
and also just to be clear, I'm not saying this technology is suddenly going to go on an S curve in the next 2 years. It's going to take 3-4 years to actually like get to prime time because it's way too expensive. I agree. I mean, all the stuff they say is way too expensive. It's like still like bulky. It's not anywhere near, like, I'm just comparing Meta's technology with Apple's technology and why Apple's strategy is better. That's all I'm saying. As an investment, I would add like $0 to it at this point of time. Like it's long term. It's a good thing,
well, even buying Meta now after it had a 3x run is sort of ridiculous. Like you have to wait for some correction here.
One thing I would like to get get just throw it out there to the group is the effect. Say we talk about the effect on Meta stock. Meta investors and the board of directors have been very patient with Mark, looking for that return. They're not happy that he's bleeding this money into Reality Labs. Now that Apple has finally shown their cards, right? If this device is $500 and they're losing money and they're not able to gain market share and it doesn't become a platform, how long will markets continue to allow Meta to lose money from the money-making side of the business to fund this thing if they're selling these things at a loss without being able to be a real competitor? How long until that gets priced in?
I think they'll give them time because, as Rango's saying, if the S-curve is not happening for a couple of years because the tech isn't there, the economies of scale aren't there, I think they'll give 8 more quarters before. But
if Mark's been saying the reason why we're doing this is because we're going to be the compute platform for the
But until Apple starts making massive amounts of money from the developer side and the hardware side, I don't think the market's going to punish Meta.
So, all right, no, like that's the question. That's just the question. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
The reason I'm not like very bullish on Meta's Reality Labs is the reason is they started this, they acquired Oculus in 2014, right? They haven't built any foundational technology expertise or the technology inside the Oculus. Like 2014 to right now, they don't make their own chips, they don't make their own networking, they don't make their own even OS. I mean, OS is like the you should make it, man. They did make it and then they shelved it. Like, and then laid the entire group off. Like they were making their own OS. They built their own OS, and then they're like,
why?
Android is just
why did they can it?
They weren't getting traction because Android is just easier to port and use. They weren't getting any better performance than like Android. Like Apple has been building like foundational OS stuff since 1980s, 90s. They built on top of Darwin kernel. They wrote like all the basic really quick boot, like they wrote like it's been built on top of it for the past 20 years. Meta tried to build their own OS. They're like, you know what, Android is just doing much better. Shelved it, laid the entire team off, just started using Android. There goes your entire bull case, in my opinion. Like, that's just not good.
I think I agree with you. It would have been better if they built their own thing.
Yeah,
I do agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to move on to Chris. Let me do your thing, then I'm going to go to Unity. Go ahead, Chris.
You're muted, Chris.
So one of the things that just as a drawback to Meta has right now, if you look at their operating income, it's been going down significantly. It's from 44 billion a year to 27. If you look at their total growth rates, it's been going down significantly also. Cash flow wise, same thing. They've actually gone lower with their cash flow. A lot of the reason why the reason why I bought Meta when I did was because I wanted to get into something that was a lot more value because they were still generating a ton of cash flow. The problem is the valuation right now has gone crazy and you're back to 30 PE again with a company that, look at its free cash flow. It's literally been shelved in half. Yeah, they're spending money on doing share buybacks, but until they get a reacceleration of the business, this is not the company that, that deserves $1 trillion valuation. Maybe 600 is fair value, but $1 trillion at this point with the current business deteriorating like this, probably not a good idea.
But why? But wait, is that the money that they're investing in Reality Labs, or is that just the lack
AI? No, they're doing it in like AI hardware, like the AI training for their for their reels and like for their like very few amount of like not that much goes into Reality Labs, like people like pump. It's mostly like AI infrastructure. Their like AI efficiency is not that great, and AI training is not cheap, especially video, and that's where most of the money is going right now. But the market is pricing in, what are the markets pricing in? They laid off like 20-30% of the people, and they had to pay so much severance. All that is going to come to free cash flow from next year, and they've completely been on a hiring freeze, and they have not been hiring all that, and they're not paying well also right now. Like Meta is like competing as much as Google, they're not paying that well, and all that is being priced in, and rightly so. They'll pump free cash flow coming this year. It's already been priced in, and
but hold on,
so that's why the market is giving so much value to it right now.
But hold on, them investing this money in AI to improve the algorithm for Reels and improve the algorithm for, say, for Instagram, Reels, Shorts, all that stuff, that should pay them in the future, just like Tesla buying, investing in a gigafactory.
But
more profitable in the future.
But Carlos, at the same time, we're
taking market share from TikTok. Sorry.
We're also facing a lot of recessionary headwinds, which means that overall advertising spend in the short term is also going to be taking a hit.
That's everybody,
right? But that's everyone. That's
I know.
What happens? What happens? Hold on. What happens next year? What happens next year? The following year, and ad spend increases, if the economy does better, all of a sudden they become a free printing cash flow machine again? Like they're back up?
No, but that's what I'm trying to say. That in the short, remember, the market is not going to say, "Oh, well, you know what? In the next couple of years, their free cash flow is going to be
I'm
great
asking you
again."
though, your opinion. on it.
No. For me, I think right now it's a good idea to be cautious. It's a good idea to be optimistic about Meta because I think there's still some potential operating leverage they have left to squeeze out. They did a lot of overhiring over the last couple of years, and that really ate into their margins significantly. But now they're taking that free cash flow and putting it towards their shares, which are undervalued. So they used to spend 1% of their, I think, their net income in buybacks. Now it's almost up to 5% because they were so undervalued. The question is, those are diminishing returns because now you're not allocating that capital into developing further. So I would say for Meta, I'd be cautiously optimistic. I think at the current value, they're fair value. I wouldn't say that they have a lot of upside to go, but I don't think that they have much downside either. So
it's a hold. I mean, they're taking, like, in my opinion, their bull case is they're taking market share from TikTok right now, and TikTok is getting banned. You're going to get a lot more revenue out of them. WhatsApp is not being monetized just yet, and the whole monetization of WhatsApp business is becoming big in India, and like a lot of my parents use WhatsApp business and stuff like
we
that.
know as Indians, right, Rango? We know.
Yeah. and
First
and
of all, I
like
see what you're doing with this podcast.
I said the same thing. I was like, my dad would be so proud. I'm on here with a bunch of rich Indian people.
Okay, so let's transition to Unity. Let's start with you, Vitaly, and Carlos.
Carlos, we'll just start moving up, and then soon we'll just be
I mean,
hello, welcome to Finance Junkies.
my friend.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Am I
Vitaly and
allowed to
Carlos.
do that? I'm friends with all of you.
Yes, you can.
We
you
can
can.
technically say that, right?
Yes, yeah. I mean, the
technically
white guys
bound.
have to colonize us. We have to accept it. So, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
You guys, made us talk about Unity 2 weeks ago.
I made you.
And
Yeah, that's right. You didn't want. You were
made us do a deep
delaying it
dive.
for days and days.
Explain to me why it's up 17% today.
Because Apple said Unity. That's Apple said the word.
Dude, honestly, look,
They could have said oranges. Oranges would have been like shooting through the roof.
we couldn't watch the stream live, but I had on a separate tab. I had.
Oh yeah, Carlos, can you say the story? What happened today for those that don't know?
Oh yeah, this was horrible. This is what we should just shit on Apple for like 2 minutes. This was ridiculous. Chris and I went live. We had a great stream going. We had a good time going. We had 100 and something people in on the new channel.
On a new channel,
which was amazing. And then suddenly we just see the feed get cut off, and we thought it was because of the music that they were playing. We're like, oh, cool. So we decided to restart the feed with someone in the chat was like, oh, just have it with no sound and just put the captions on and we'll all watch it live. We did that for a couple of minutes, and then we got canceled again, and then we got hit with a strike on the Finance Junkies channel, and we ended up having to watch it. It's like, man, so 90 days we'll be able to finally post something on the Finance Junkies, but it was absolutely ridiculous because that would have been awesome.
Wait, we're banned for 90 days?
No, we just can't post anything for 90 days.
Wait, we can't post the video for 90 days.
I don't know.
No, you can't get a copyright strike for 90 days.
We better not use any.
Yeah. So and then after 90 days, it clears up. It's like a rash. It'll go away, and then
we're encouraging Apple stream. Like, if
I will tell you right now, I hope
FaceTime was there. Look, all 4 streams. Thank you, T FaceTime.
I hope Apple fucking burns and dies. Okay, and every shareholder fucking loses every single dollar that you've ever invested in Apple. I swear to God, this is the fucking sign of a dying company with no innovation left in its heart. I hope you fucking black-hearted Apple motherfuckers.
Fault, bro.
Finally, the real Chris is out.
I hope all you motherfucking Apple executives that decided, hey, I guess it's a good idea to not let fucking people stream. Hey, we want more people to join. You know what? Your fucking dislike ratio was close to almost 25% of the total people watching. So you know what, Apple, you fucking grind balls, you pieces of shit. If you're watching, I don't give a fuck. I was serious, man. I swear.
Chris, I
the entire time I was like,
you got a bunch of Apple employees watching this shit.
There is a response. It's like the one thing I don't like. Look, I have Apple products everywhere. I use them everywhere. Okay, so it's not like I'm not buying Apple products, but they're so fucking corporate. It's so disgusting how corporate they are. Okay, the beautiful glass tower. Like, it was just disgusting to watch.
Remember
the actual
this?
event.
Remember you had to stream.
Hold on. I've never seen someone that makes such cool technology look fucking annoying and boring. It's kind of amazing that they can do
I
that.
wouldn't say, honestly, I wouldn't say Apple's super corporate. What I would say more so, they're just super safe. You notice how they've avoided every major pitfall, all of the privacy things they've avoided. They're just super, super safe. And this I don't know what this was all about. I don't know why they didn't let us stream it live. We would just like, if they were saying, oh well, we want people to go to the YouTube channel, we were still watching it on the YouTube channel.
No, I think they were afraid you guys would say something damaging the brand, or anyone would, and they wanted to control the brand for this big announcement.
We're still going to say shit about it. Now we're going to talk shit about your stupid company, though.
Yeah, and now we're going to buy product.
There you go.
Chris is going to unleash the puts.
Chris managed to get the new channel banned. Now he's going to
look. At the end of the day, hold on. At the end of the day, look. Once again, Apple fan have lots of Apple products, but a $3 trillion company. What's the upside on a $3 trillion company? Yes, okay, $6 trillion.
I agree with Vitaly here. I would not.
What's the upside? I mean, like,
they are the
why would you invest in this company at this point?
They are the IBM of the fucking 1980s. All right,
yeah,
this is like investing in the.
Hold on, if they didn't pay a dividend, I'd agree with you. But they pay a nice dividend, and they pay all the time.
It's less than 1% now with the stock.
That's what Meta should be doing, honestly.
Buybacks and dividends.
And this is why Apple can't fucking do social media for stupid shit like this. Which dumb executive thought, hey, we don't want more people to cover this fucking product launch? Which executive that?
And guys, like you also have to understand all their like fixed cost is already like so huge. Anything they make, like 5% revenue growth, like 3%, everything goes to the bottom line. So like all comes into net income. So that like literally like, and also they're like literally a commodity. So they keep pumping it and they keep buying back share. Like it's like a financial engineering, right? So it's like
it's buying Coca-Cola. Sure, buy Coca-Cola, buy IBM, buy whatever.
Vitaly, give me some.
And I actually, by the way, I did sell my Apple, but the only reason I sold it is not for Meta. I bought Enphase stock when it was down to 150. That's what I bought with the Apple.
I ended up selling it at the beginning of the pandemic too, and I ended up putting it into Tesla. Except for these call options, which are fine. I'm still holding them. I'll see what's up at the end of the month, but that was it.
Okay, Vitaly, can you give me some more nuanced analysis for why Unity is up?
Why? Okay, you don't need any more nuanced.
No, people want to know it. People want us to
say it in Russian. Say it in Russian.
Yeah, okay. Apple сегодня пошел наверх. Okay, so Apple went up strictly because they mentioned Unity. They actually said the word. We're using Unity. Okay, we partnered with Unity. They said it. As soon as you say that, boom, you get 20% profit. But the thing that everybody's still missing, why this is going to be completely doesn't matter, even if it goes up tomorrow, it makes no difference. They're missing the whole AI play for Unity. Unity has a whole back end where every developer in Apple's devices and Meta's devices and Google's devices is going to have to pay Unity a little percent for advertising, just like they do it into Google. They're going to have to pay a little bit for the cloud infrastructure and a little bit for AI. That's the real bull case of why Unity is going to win. And I don't think that's priced in at all. That's not even.
Have you guys seen Silicon Valley? Like all of you guys here, the show.
Yeah, funniest show
in that like.
See if you get this.
Middle out. So in that like
middle out.
In that they actually build out the game. They build out like real time ads inside the game engine. Like that's basically like what Unity is doing, and it's freaking amazing. Like if you say Domino's Pizza, and like they can immediately render a Domino's Pizza, for example.
This was I started telling you earlier. I mean, I was watching the stream live and I had 3 tabs open, right? I had in TradingView, I had Meta, I had Apple, and I had Unity, but I had it set to minute so I could see the movements in a minute. And it was like right before Apple announced right before he said one more thing, Apple went up. And then as soon as he announced it, it just started tanking. And then Meta started pumping. And it was just funny watching the money go in and out. Then the slide comes up and he's like,
I just want to point out one thing
with Unity.
Apple fucking uses slave labor to assemble their phones. They use fucking Chinese sweatshop labor. Okay. This is the most unethical company parading around like they're some fucking ethical giant. All right. All this performative bullshit. You know what? Fuck you, Apple. Fuck you.
Wait, what about Unity? You were going to say something about Unity.
I don't give a shit about Unity. I fucking hate Apple. That's the whole point of this fucking thing.
Chris really wanted to do the stream, bro. Chris was so excited.
No, I didn't actually care that much. The point is, we did nothing but fucking help you, Apple. We fucking woke up. Like I worked my ass off last night. I went to sleep at fucking 9:30, woke up, and I was like, okay, let's do this developer conference. You know, let's get the community going. So
and 100 people showed up. It would have been more.
100 people showed up.
When I
multiple times they showed up. Okay, yes. Fuck that. Multiple times they showed up. And these motherfuckers in their audacity.
Chris,
you are the fucking.
We're never gonna make $1 on this fucking channel.
I don't care. I really don't go.
He's gonna be like, this was the worst one, bro.
As long as fucking Apple. I hope Apple, one of you motherfucking executives are watching the Finance Junkies channel. You fucked up. All right. You fucked
Yeah,
up. I will
no.
never, ever fucking have anything good to say about you, motherfuckers.
Okay,
yeah.
we ban everybody from buying Apple M2 laptops.
And apparently they released the Chris Patel Kraken.
What do you guys think about the other products? The laptops, the OS, the iPhone,
Hey,
emojis?
All fucking garbage. All fucking garbage that they just keep recycling with like a little bit of improvement. Oh, hey, buy
They
more
stopped
of our
innovating,
fucking...
dude. They
Yeah,
stopped
they're not
innovating.
innovating
Hold on,
anymore.
hold on. Okay, stop. Let's not get crazy. The Ultra, the M2 Ultra was a nice.
The Mac Pro, dude, like they still like people haven't come with an ARM-based chip for a laptop since M1. Like Qualcomm has been trying to do that. They haven't been able to productize it. It's a no-brainer. It's already there. Like like people,
Please
the
limit
market is already
profanity.
there.
I agree.
What's the what
market
is
is already there.
what's the problem there? What is the problem getting
CPU,
these
CPU performance, like Apple's single-threaded CPU performance is like so much ahead of like anything. Definitely Intel is screwed. Like Intel, like architecturally speaking, like the Intel's x86 architecture cannot like pump out that good of a CPU performance without draining batteries, and that's not good for a laptop. And like Qualcomm can do it. That's why they acquired a bunch of companies to do it. But there are other stuff, the GPU and other stuff, they don't have like the right solution for that.
All right,
So,
well,
like,
question. All right, well, question then. Why not put that into a desktop machine? Is heat a problem? Is it thermal? Is it thermal?
Like Apple?
With ARM chips, is it a problem? Is it a problem? Is it a thermal problem? Because like,
Mm.
look, my old trash can had a problem. I bought the Studio because the iMac Pro had problems with thermal throttling. It's a problem, right? So aside from going to liquid cooling, is that a holdback? Is that a barrier to
For
getting
for ARM, like
Yeah.
for what like for but Apple has covered the whole product line, right? The Mac Pro, they did the Pro. Today they finished the product line. The Pro came out today. So it's hard, dude. Like they have to build out like I think they're building it out on 3 nanometer technology, which is not which is a TSMC was building out. That's like the atom's diameter, I think, is 2 nanometers, and they're building like transistors at 3 nanometers, like literally the size of the atom. They cannot go any smaller, right? So the TSMC's yield was not coming out ahead, I think. So that's why they've waited till right now to actually release like this. They needed the process technology to catch up. So that's why it took some time, but they covered everything, like the whole product line. Now you have the the cheese grater Mac Pro in M1,
which is
M2
much,
Ultra,
much
right?
better cooling.
Yeah. So it should be good. Like
Someone said that Tim Cook's gonna make me gay. I'm like, I'm not gay. Yeah, I'm not gay. Then Tim Cook walks around and he's like, yo, hold my pride flag for a second. Let me have a conversation.
Like, Carlos, I got one more thing for you.
Yeah, right. One more big thing. No. Actually, we're at 56 minutes. I got to give it to Vitaly. You handled the heat like a champ today, bro. We came at you hard, but you handled it like a champ. So I got to give it to you. You defended.
He had some good points. I mean, he had some really good points.
He makes good points, and I think at the end of the day, if you really if you go back and listen to this conversation, you realize that Apple is not competing with Meta. Quest is probably going to win the VR wars. We still have 3 to 5 years before anything that could potentially hurt Meta on the financial side in terms of bleeding cash is going to happen. And by then they could be monetized. They could be making boatloads of cash back again on the ad revenue. Like it's looking pretty good for both of these companies. And the VR AR space is, I think, legitimized today, right? And I think we now know that Apple's going to be around for a while and Meta, it will be around for a while. It might not be what his vision was, but you also don't know, right? You got to keep on the lookout for the future.
That's a good summary, Carlos, and I appreciate the remarks. Actually,
got to give credit. No, you got to give credit. I held it down. He was in there like Hodor.
I was the only one. I think you guys are forgetting why we do this. I'm not investing in Meta to be poor. Okay. So I invested in Meta and bought more of it because I saw massive opportunity with Chris. And in fact, I think Chris and I are still holding a lot of shares, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Because I still think we see massive opportunity. Having said that, I'm no idiot. I'm not buying Meta right now at $300. In fact, I'm thinking of selling some because I have to pay for my landscaping. So that might happen at $300. But we were so right. And anyone who actually did not hate Meta and listened to us, to me and Chris, for the last like 6 months, 8 months, a year. We've been talking about it for a long time, Chris.
10 PE was stupid for my
Nobody.
It was at
like
8
10
p 8 p
Yeah.
8.
Nobody listened.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal with that. With that, okay.
Carlos has
That-
to defend himself.
I know.
obvious
There's
thing.
nothing to defend. I said
No,
thank
it's
you,
not
and I
about-
gave.
It's not about defending it. It's not about
What-
defending it. It's not about
There's no
defending
a but and.
it. No, but there is a but. That was a grossly oversold company. That was a good trade. I don't
No,
think.
even,
Yeah, it was a good
okay.
trade,
By
yeah.
the
It
way,
was a reversion back to the mean. For
you
a
told me
company
it was a shit buy even back when it was.
No,
at
no, no. I said
10
no.
PE.
There's a difference. There's a difference between thinking Meta's a shit company, like Palantir. I've said it even on Twitter. I don't
Well,
think
you own the
Palantir should
shares now.
exist. I don't even think they should exist. But as a trade, if you look at where their contracts are coming from and their roadmap,
Shit,
if we spend
we got to
1% of
Palantir
1%
somehow.
of a defense contract
I
every
didn't say
year,
anything. I didn't say
I'm
anything.
just saying-
I thought we were gonna get to Weight Watchers before Palantir.
no, listen. If Palantir succeeds getting 1% of the 1% of the defense budget
Oh,
every
boy.
year, that continues to go up.
I got it. It's a good trade.
It's a great trade. You're going to make money
Please.
forever. Do
Please
I
don't
think they should
Palantir.
exist? No. But do I think you could make money on it? Yes. The same thing with Meta.
So I mean, but that's the reason I buy anything. It's not because I'm invested in Zuck, even though he's such a cute guy now and he does karate. That is not why I'm buying Meta. Okay, I'm buying it because it's an obvious way to make money for me. In fact, it's almost a safe way to make money in the market, especially at $80. It was just stupid.
Yo, you might not. You
Okay.
gotta be careful. They're gonna be starting inverse Vitali on trending on Twitter. Careful.
Okay, last question for all of you guys. Would Jobs have okayed this? Yes.
Yeah.
or no?
No.
No
No.
way.
No.
100% no.
But I do want to give
With
them
a
some
dongle?
reasons but that dongle, if you don't put it externally, you have to put it in the thing. I don't know how Jobs would have got out of that. Like, no one wants to wear the battery on their head.
No,
right?
he would have. He would have.
You think he would have found a way? You think so?
I think the device might have looked different, but there's no doubt in my mind that Steve Jobs would have moved into this. The argument is they might have actually done it sooner. A lot of people said that they took the iPhone 15. What the fuck would Jobs have done anyway? He just obsolete his own products and moves on to the next thing.
So you know, Jobs' superpower was like not really like the great products or anything. He's just so good at finding killer apps. Like he's so good at it. Like just like finding like the right app. He just has so intuitively finds the right apps that should have killed it and would have designed it down and found the right app. Like he would have designed it according to like right now Apple is like, okay, let's overpower it and just try to like find the right app because we just don't know what is the right app, reduce risk. Job is like, this is the right app. We're gonna putting the battery outside, you're gonna put it internally, but we're gonna power the whole thing down. We're gonna like make it like super, super weak. But it's going to look really pretty and there's not going to be cable time. But you're going to have this app, which is going to be the killer. And it's always the killer.
I think
like,
Jobs would have said, hey, why don't you destroy the Oculus Pro? Let's make that $1,000. We got to hit that price target. Let's kill their market at the top end and then take over their bottom a little faster. Now they're giving Meta more time to figure shit out.
They really are with this.
A lot more time because this device is not even coming out till they said next year. Okay, this is
Quest 3 when's Quest 3?
December, baby.
And don't forget, one of the
December.
great things about Meta is that they will copy the shit out of you.
They will copy the shit out of you
But
and make it cheaper.
To Rango's point on our last podcast, there comes a point when you can't. It's like, this is a great example. Tesla is now outsold the Toyota Camry. Okay, this is the number one selling car at twice the price. Why? Because it's the better product. And no matter what Toyota does, they can't copy it. Ford can't copy it. It gets to a point where you can't copy it.
It's a structural advantage.
I referred it to the Apple's device is like a Lamborghini. Okay, and here's a Honda, beautiful Honda, works. And everyone's going to buy the Honda, and the Lamborghini is still going to be sexy.
No, Apple wouldn't be the Lamborghini. They're more like they'd be more like the Lexus, right? Where like the Lexus,
I think
is
the
not
$3,500, it's a Lamborghini.
No, I don't think so. And it's not to say that it's actually going to launch at $3,500, and it's not to say that Meta can continue selling.
Dude, that's the bottom of the price.
You know what?
That's the bottom.
But like I said, they announced
Vitaly,
the iPad at $1,000, and
you know what? Like Apple does great. Like they put it in the retail stores. People go to the retail stores. They're gonna try it, and they're gonna like they're like, oh, this is so good. Why is then they're like, I don't know. They don't want to spend money on a Meta. Like this is so good. Like,
well, that
they
is
put
an
it on the
advantage.
retail store. That is like a huge advantage. They put it in an actual store and people get to try
That's
it.
True.
Like
That is an
it's like
advantage.
such a
Absolutely.
and they educate the user. Like real people, they already have a distribution. This is like a structural advantage that Apple has. It's like such a huge mode. It's hard to compete with.
So
even if you have a better product.
let's talk about how
So
we
you
are
still
going
think
to
malls are a
benefit.
big thing and they're going to stay?
Let's
Wait,
talk.
what?
Yeah, let's talk about
I mean,
how we're.
I maybe I don't know. Yeah, go for it.
Let's talk about how we're gonna make money, whether or not Apple wins or Meta wins or any of these other assholes win. I have the perfect one, and that is ARM. Okay, SoftBank right now is trading at $20.
Here we go.
I
Here we
looked at
go.
their bank. No, I'm just saying. I
He
looked at
pivoted.
their.
He pivoted.
I looked at their balance sheet. It doesn't look like they're reflecting too much of the ARM IPO. The ARM IPO looks like it's going to come out around 50 billion, oversubscribed to about 70 to 80 billion. I think it'll get there within the first 30 days. At that point, SoftBank shares are going to skyrocket. Best to do is just sell the shares of SoftBank, buy shares of ARM when ARM finally pulls back. So the initial investor interest is going to be crazy, but over the next 20 years, or maybe 10 years, I'd say probably closer. I would say I'm much more interested in buying ARM than buying Meta or buying.
Are you
Google
buying
and
SoftBank
making
yet, or
a-
still doing due diligence?
I'm doing due diligence. I haven't finished yet, but I think it's a good play. Yeah, go ahead.
I like personally, I don't like these the proxy plays, like in terms of like SoftBank, and like it relies on so many structures which has to go right, and they deciding not to do stuff like that. That's why but ARM is like definitely a long term winner. No doubt if they come IPO with the right valuation. Check out Woozix, by the way. Check out Woozix.
See, the problem that I have right now is that I want to get into the ARM IPO, right? Now, I know I'm not big enough of a fish to get that allocation. I know that the first day it comes out, it's going to go gangbusters. So I have the option right now to buy ARM at the valuation at which they are being treated at, which is the $40 billion NVIDIA valuation on their balance sheet. So that's what I'm saying. Buying SoftBank right now means that it's almost like, you guys remember when SoftBank IPO'd Alibaba, because they owned a significant portion of it. SoftBank shares rode up like crazy at the same time. The reason why SoftBank took a huge beating, and this is the only reason why I wouldn't buy SoftBank, is number one, there are no options against it, so I can't cover my downside because they're trade as an ADR. The other problem is that I don't know what the fallout of their other investments in their vision fund is. Their vision fund has been complete trash. About 80 to 90% of the equity that they have in their vision fund is complete garbage. Like they literally bought at the tops, like WeWork. Look at how much money they lost on WeWork, and it's crazy. But
they bought a lot of shit companies, man. Like today, some company called Nestaway, an Indian startup, went down. SoftBank was like you can look at like every company which has gone down. SoftBank would have been an investor.
Yeah, Mayoshi-san was just.
Can you bring up PB's comment? I think he has the right play here. As Intel totally craters, that'll probably be the.
I pick him up.
The easiest
no, I would not touch.
At all.
I would not touch Intel. I wouldn't touch Intel with it. No, I wouldn't do
What
it.
question, Chris?
What happens when Intel returns back to the States and has their actual manufacturing here? And Taiwan in a couple of years, by the way. Hold on, Taiwan in a couple of years will face an issue.
Yes.
Where China will make a problem.
Yes. TSMC will win in America. TSMC will win in America too.
No, but this is going to happen. And Intel, but hold on. Intel, once they establish their actual position and are not total shit. I know you're saying x86, that's total shit. I agree with you. But they're starting to do the GPUs thing. They're going to start making their own chips. You guys are ignoring. There's a massive bull case building up as Intel craters.
So the fab is a good business if you know how to do it. And Intel's like economics are terrible with the fab right now. It's just they haven't shown any signs of turning it around. And I'll tell if there is any signs of turning it around, I'll immediately buy Intel shares. But I don't see it. But
we have a couple of years. We have like a year or two.
But
absolutely.
But I do see TSMC making so much inroads inside America. I feel like TSMC will win inside America too because America has a great relationship with Taiwan, and it's in their best interest to invite TSMC and give it whatever they need to build the chips.
I think Lisa Su had the right idea when she spun Global Foundries out, saying, "Look, we can't do both at the same time the way that we should be doing."
Fab is hard, man.
Yeah,
so like fab is only making money when in scale. Like if you make 1 billion chips, only then you make money. Else you don't make money.
It's also a lot of things need to fall in place for that case to happen. Like to Vitaly's point, it's like a lot of things that in that case need to happen in the order that you say in order for that to happen. Anything can happen to knock that out. Like I mean, personally,
for VR play, before I forget, check out Woozix, guys. Like Woozix, I'm gonna research Woozix. It's a glass company, eyeglass company. Like for
what's the ticker symbol?
Lens. VUZI, I think.
Okay.
Guys, don't follow Rango. He bought shares early to pump it on this channel.
No. I don't.
This is not a pump and dump for the channel.
No, I don't own Woozix. I'm researching still due to diligence for full disclosure. I'm still looking into it. I don't know who they supply, but they are they were like a SPAC, like they were pumping during the SPAC mania during the metaverse and stuff. Now they have like come back to earth. People have forgotten about it.
So you forgot to ring the bell, by the way. I'm going to remind you.
Yeah, we're at 523.
No, I'll do it now, but you guys were going at each other's necks like hyenas, so I wanted to just chill.
I thought we were pretty calm.
No, it was good. It was good. It was a respectful, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Great podcast.
I kept back a lot of stuff.
All right, thank you, everybody. We have hit. I think it was around 5:30 for the majority of the pod. We're at 5:23 right now. So thank you for letting us hit 500, and thanks to Rango for being on to help us do it.
And I'd like to say this is, Johnny has a comment here. This is a much longer conversation. What about the late 2023-24 availability at 8 or 9? Coming to market of the Vision Pro and the alignment of the NVX battery availability. I think that is a huge opportunity. If they open it up and allow other companies to make batteries for this thing, that's a really smart play, and we could be sitting pretty with something like NVX, but it's still early.
We've got all the tickers in this pod. Congratulations. We
got
got NVX now.
We got NVX. We got NVX.
Yeah,
You should ring a bell. Ding, ding, ding.
By the way, Palantir broke 15. I mean, I'm just saying, guys. I told you to buy it at $6 and you didn't buy it.
I don't know if you noticed, but everything is pumping. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I don't know if you noticed, but Palantir just got $500 million today from the army. I'm just saying.
So just to talk a little about macro.
Wait. Smash that like button. I don't think we have a lot of likes on this channel.
Yeah, we have like 100
No,
likes.
we don't have a bunch. Yeah, hit
Also,
like
let's make the announcement for the new time. Are we doing that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Carlos, go ahead.
No, Amit, you do it. Well,
Okay.
tomorrow, starting tomorrow, we're gonna do this an hour earlier because it lines up with our schedules a little bit better, and we've had success doing it at 9 p.m. on the
But
East
only for
Coast.
the next 2 weeks. Then we're moving to 10.
Yeah, for the next 2 weeks. So
for the
we
next 2
switch it up. We're sorry that we keep moving the time, but we do have to work within our availability, and we actually have had some success moving it a little bit earlier on the East Coast. We find that people at 9 o'clock is a little bit easier to get to the podcast. So,
I might be a little late tomorrow to the pod as well, but we'll be starting at 9. So we'll be doing that.
cool.
Okay.
What was I going to say? I was going to ask.
No, just from the macro, right now, a lot of things are overvalued. Just be careful, be cautious. Right now is like a time where you have to be very selective about which industries and which ones you're going to go with. I think there was a point last year where everything was falling apart, which was the perfect time to buy. We're getting to the opposite end of the spectrum because what's happening is the big guys are leading the market higher. So everyone's thinking, oh my God, this is a great time to get into the market. But at the same time, the valuations have gone crazy, especially look at Snowflake. Snowflake's at $188, yet their last quarter was slowing down with a forecast of macro going down. So there's a lot of good companies that got smacked, but they're just recovered right away. CrowdStrike, they gave not so good guidance. They fell. And then what happened? They're right back to where they were right now. Palantir, same situation. So I would be very cautious in being in this market right now. I'm in a significant value proposition. I moved away. I even have some cash on the side now, just waiting for the market to dump because I know that there are some good opportunities to pick up some really good companies. So yeah, just be on the safe side.
Before we go,
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, Rango, then Carlos. Go ahead, Rango.
Yeah, I mean, like inflation. I mean, yeah, that might be a correction. It's been pumping for too much in the short term, but if the inflation keeps going down,
That's where I agree.
And it has seemed to be going down like steadily.
So headline CPI is going down. Core PCE is not. The core PCE
core
is
definitely
that's the biggest
PCE
problem.
Not going down. But the thing is, like, food inflation has got so much lag in it. I don't know, man. Like,
but Chris, if you
real
get a
estate
pause
and
as well, if we get a pause, you still think it's overinflated if we get a pause?
It's going to depend on the valuations. The biggest thing right now is we haven't seen the correction in the commercial real estate just come yet in terms of like people actually taking losses. That's one. Housing is still crazy right now. Like housing affordability is at all-time highs. So
people are like refinanced at the bottom and just sitting on some great rates. Why would they sell right now? They just like sit on it and rent it out. I mean, rents might go down in the interim, but they're just sitting on like a 2.5%, 3%.
So here's
the difference from 2008, right? Because
here's the problem that I'm seeing when it comes to residential. The rate at which the growth in rents is actually significantly lower than the actual price of the homes. So a lot of people, instead of selling, they've chosen to just rent out their buildings and rent out their apartments, whatever. So a lot of people, they typically, the average amount of time that they spend in a house is about 7 years, right? things happen in a person's life where they're not going to stay in the house regardless of whatever interest rates they have, but of course they're going to prolong it. So as an example, if someone dies in your family and you become a single income family, guess what? You're going to downsize. You have older people, like older boomers that are leaving, they're wanting to retire, they're eventually going to come to market. A lot of them are holding off on putting things into the market primarily because if they sell a property that they're paying 3% at, they're going to have to buy another property that they're going to pay 7.5%, 8% at. So it makes no sense to do it. So I think this is the first time in history where something stupid is going to happen, which is the Fed will lower rates and that will cause housing to crash. I know that sounds really dumb, but there is a shit ton of inventory sitting in the sidelines. So what happens is, let's say you lower interest rates to 4%. Now, all of a sudden, that person who was reluctant to sell when it was at at 7-8%, they're going to put their house on the market, along with all these other people, which will have been holding back. They're all going to put their houses in the market at the same time, in which case now you're going to have a housing correction.
Too much supply.
But like a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines to buy too, because like nobody can buy at this interest rates, right? So like, don't you think, like, I mean, it's a
they could just be a bidding war. You're right. Like it might be over flooding of supply, but if the money's there to buy it up, they'll just run up the numbers.
So
there's no recession.
So Johnny has the right thing, and I've said this before. So what? Refinance in a couple of years. This is exactly what you can buy real estate now. Pay the unreasonable rate of 7%, and 3 years from now, refinance it back at 3.5%. Just like everybody did, by the way, 10, 15, 20 years ago, whatever. That's exactly what we all did.
So this is the problem. If you buy a house at the highs right now and the market dumps to let's say 10%, 20% where you are, you're basically sacrificing all of your equity that you put down. So now you have to build that equity back up again over the next 10 years.
Yeah. I don't even think that's the problem. It's just about the affordability. Like, it's like people want to buy stuff, but like, look at like Bay Area, like have a home somehow, like my mortgage was like, including property tax, everything was like 4,200. Like,
Rango, do you have an apartment or a house you pay a mortgage on?
I was living in a house, and then like I couldn't deal with all the stuff, and I rented it out, and I live in an apartment right now.
So you have you have a house that you rent out to people, and then you live in. And then what's your rent in the apartment?
Like 2,000.
Okay, that's not bad.
Like I rented out for 4,200, and like.
I have a question I've been trying to get in for like a half an hour, and then get going. Chris, what is SoftBank's stake in ARM?
100%.
All of it.
So they're spinning it off.
I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, they're IPOing it out.
Now it makes a little bit more sense, bro. Because it has to correlate with the IPO, right?
Like they bought ARM about 7 years ago for about 30-something billion, and the demand for ARM chips is about 5 times what it was today. I mean,
when they bought it
today, then compared to when they bought it.
What's a big company that uses ARM chips?
Everybody, Apple,
everybody,
Qualcomm,
everybody besides Intel.
Literally everybody.
Even Microsoft, everybody besides
even
Intel
Microsoft is switching to probably some ARM chips. Chrome, Google, all the shit with Google, they're all ARM chips. Everything is ARM. So Amazon, ARM is same thing. So
ARM is like CPU king. Like, it's weird. It's like like any increase in computing CPU is going to ARM. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's it for us.
That was a
great pod. Thank you, Rango, for joining. This was awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Rango. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, seriously,
that was great. This was great.
Good to go.
Yeah.
All right, those were our thoughts on WWDC.
Thanks, guys.
Unity. Rango will definitely have you on again. This was awesome, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern for the next 2 weeks. And thank you, 500 people, for joining. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, and Tim Cook, you still suck for kicking us off today. I'm going to go heal my nuts. Thanks.
Bye, everybody. Good night.
Bye.